Welcome to Thrive Over 40, the podcast for busy moms navigating midlife changes who are ready to feel energized, balanced, and like themselves again. I'm Amanda Mitchell, Ayurvedic wellness mentor and coach, and I help busy women over 40 improve their wellness naturally through simple, sustainable lifestyle shifts that actually fit into your real life. From stress support and self care to holistic wellness, Ayurveda, nervous system support, and healthy habits for midlife women, this podcast is designed to help you feel better without overwhelm. If you're exhausted from trying complicated wellness routines and looking for realistic ways to support your body, mind, and hormones at home, you're in the right place. Around here, we focus on small intentional changes that create lasting transformation from the inside out. So grab your tea, get cozy, and let's thrive over 40 together. Hello, welcome back to Thrive Over 40, the podcast where we explore Ayurveda, holistic wellness, and simple lifestyle shifts that help busy women in midlife feel more energized, balanced, and connected to themselves. Today, we're talking about something I hear all the time, and maybe you've said it yourself. Why does everything feel so much harder than it used to? The things that once felt manageable now feel overwhelming. But the responsibilities haven't necessarily changed. In fact, you may even have fewer responsibilities than you did 10 years ago. But somehow the to do list, the mental load, the stress all feels heavier. Even getting through a normal day can feel harder than it used to. And if you've been feeling this way, I want you to know something right from the beginning. Your body is communicating. The question is, are you listening? I think many women reach a point in midlife where they start wondering what happened. They look around and think, I used to be able to do all of this. I used to have more energy. I used to bounce back quicker. I used to be able to stay up late and keep going. And while there's certainly hormonal changes happening during midlife transitions, I don't think that's the entire story. Because what I see in my office and in the women I work with is something deeper. I see women who have spent decades taking care of everyone else. Women who have become experts at putting themselves last. Women who have pushed through exhaustion, stress, overwhelm, and discomfort because that's what needed to be done. And eventually the body starts asking for a different approach. I often tell my clients that your body keeps score. It's not in a punishment kind of way, but in a communication kind of way. Years of chronic stress, poor sleep, skipping meals, eating on the run while you're busy running your kids all over the place for practices and games and concerts and etc. Years of saying, I'm fine when you're anything but. It adds up. And eventually your body starts waving a flag. Maybe it's fatigue, brain fog, digestive issues, increased anxiety, or maybe it's simply a feeling that you don't recognize yourself anymore. The challenge is that many women interpret these signals as proof that something is wrong, instead of seeing them for what they often are, which is an invitation to pay attention. One of the things I love about Ayurveda is that it teaches us to start listening to our body's whispers. Ayurveda reminds us that we're not separate from nature. Just like nature moves through seasons, so do we. And midlife is a season. It's a transition, a time when your body begins asking for different things than it did in your 20s and 30s. The habits that once worked may no longer work. The pace that once felt sustainable may no longer feel that way. And the problem is that many women continue trying to operate from an old set of expectations. They expect the same energy, the same recovery, the same resilience, the same output, but their body is asking for something different. More rest, maybe more nourishment, more awareness, support, and often more simplicity. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't about doing less because you're getting older. It's about doing things differently. It's about working with your body. Because here's what I've noticed. Women need a way back to themselves, a way to reconnect with their body, a way to understand what their body is asking for, and a way to create simple habits that actually support them. That's one of the reasons why I became so passionate about Ayurveda, because Ayurveda isn't focused on perfection, it's focused on awareness. It's focused on understanding your unique needs. It's focused on small daily practices that support your overall well-being. Simple things: eating regular meals, getting enough rest, creating a calming morning routine, Spending time in nature. How often are we doing that? I am today if you're watching a video. Building habits that help your nervous system feel safe. These things may sound simple because they are, but simple doesn't mean insignificant. In fact, it's often the simple things that create the biggest shifts. I think we live in a world that constantly tells us we need to do more. You need this supplement. You need to do workout 3 hours a day. You need to constantly be productive or consume more information, put out more effort. But sometimes the answer is less rushing, less multitasking, less stress, less pressure to be everything for everyone. And one of the most common things I hear women say is, I don't even know where to start. And I can totally understand that. When you're already overwhelmed, the last thing you need is to piece together a bunch of information from several sources to create a complicated plan for yourself. You need something manageable and realistic, something that fits into your real life. And that's exactly why I created my free 5-day Radiance Reset Guide, because I wanted women to have a simple place to begin. Not a list of 50 things to change all at once. You can look that up on a search engine for yourself. Just small intentional shifts that help you reconnect with your body and start feeling more like yourself again. Inside the guide, I walk you through 5 simple days of Ayurvedic-inspired practices designed to support your energy, digestion, stress levels, and overall well-being. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. It's helping you notice how your body responds when you start giving it what it needs. Because here's what I want you to remember. You don't need to wait until you're completely burned out. You don't need to wait until your symptoms get worse. You don't need to wait until you have the perfect plan. You can start this today. With one small shift, like a nourishing home-cooked meal, an earlier bedtime today, one glass of warm water, one walk outside, instead of the meaningless, mindless Facebook scrolling. Because small shifts create big change, and those small shifts add up over time. So before we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with a question. What if everything feels harder right now because your body is asking for a new level of care? Because you've reached a season of life where your body deserves more support. What would change if you started seeing your symptoms as communication instead of frustration? What would change if you started listening? Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. If today's episode resonated with you and you're ready to take the first step toward feeling better, I invite you to download my free Radiance Reset Guide. It's designed specifically for busy women in midlife who want to improve their energy, reduce overwhelm, and reconnect with themselves through small, sustainable shifts. You'll find a link to that in the show notes. Remember that your body is quietly communicating, and sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is slow down long enough to listen. Until next time, take gentle, meaningful care of yourself. Before you go, I want to remind you that lasting wellness in midlife doesn't come from doing everything perfectly. It comes from small, supportive shifts that help you feel more like yourself again. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start creating sustainable wellness habits that support your energy, hormones, nervous system, and overall well-being, I'd love to invite you into my Reclaim Your Radiance Foundations journey. Inside, we focus on simple, realistic practices for busy women over 40 through weekly guidance, supportive habits, and one-on-one mentoring designed to help you feel more grounded, nourished, and radiant from the inside out. You can find all the details in the show notes. And if this episode spoke to you, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another woman who needs this reminder too. Until next time, keep choosing yourself in the small moments because those small shifts truly add up.